Okay, we need to seriously talk about Aston Martin. Because something's happening behind the scenes that no one in the paddock is saying out loud. And the silence? It's louder than anything they've built before. The 2026 project has just entered a phase that could change everything. And what we've seen, from the inside, suggests this isn't just another midfield team with ambition. No, this is a full-scale threat. To Red Bull, to Mercedes, to every single team on the grid. And it starts with one man, who already broke F1 once. But what's coming now is even more dangerous. We'll come back to that. Because first, we need to understand the real structure of what Aston Martin's building. Officially, it's a comeback story. Aston Martin, the legacy name, the racing green, the billionaire reboot. To the casual viewer, it looks like ambition finally meeting structure. A team rebuilding from the midfield with new hires and a shiny new headquarters. But that version? It's already outdated. Because this isn't just about climbing the rankings. This is about power, control, and a team being designed, not to win, but to dominate a regulatory era before it even begins. The trigger wasn't a podium. It was a decision. A decision made long before the 2025 season even started. When the team abandoned development on their current car and moved everything, every resource, into a car no one could yet see. That car is called the AMR26. And it's being built around one single objective: to be untouchable. But to do that, Lawrence Stroll had to do something unprecedented. He didn't just spend more money. He bought experience, championships, and brains that have already broken this sport before. Andy Cowell, the man behind Mercedes' hybrid domination. Enrico Cardiel, one of Ferrari's sharpest minds in chassis architecture. And then, ADRIAN Newey, the man who's predicted and exploited every regulation change since the late 1990s. And here's the thing. Newey didn't come to consult. He came to run it. He's not just drawing wings and floors. He's team principal. Which means, for the first time ever, his philosophy controls everything. Every line on the chassis. Every decision on timelines. Even the architecture of the power unit itself. But here's what no one's explained yet. This isn't just Newey designing a car. This is Newey designing a team. And that part? No one's ready for what it could mean. There's a reason the AMR26 isn't being shown yet. And it's not because the team isn't ready. It's because they're trying to keep the rest of the grid in the dark. The regulations for 2026 are radical. Aerodynamic freedom returns. The power split goes 50-50, internal combustion and electric. No more MGUH. Weight reductions across the board. Everything teams thought they understood gets reset. And Newey? He's made a career out of treating regulation changes like puzzles, not problems. He doesn't wait to react. He defines the template everyone else has to copy. That's exactly what he's doing again. But this time, he has something he's never had before. Total control. Inside the team, the mood shifted when Newey delayed one decision in particular. Suspension architecture. Push rod or pull rod sounds simple. But it's not. That choice defines how the car handles every load, every bump, every corner. And Newey? He refused to finalize it. He pushed it to the absolute limit of the development window. Why? Because he wasn't optimizing the car for comfort. He was optimizing it for dominance. He wanted every other piece of the concept, floor, packaging, aerodynamics, balance, to align perfectly first. And only then would he pick the suspension that maximized everything else. Inside the factory, that delay created pressure, tension, because deadlines don't move. But Newey doesn't care about deadlines. He cares about the ceiling, the upper limit of what the car can become. And here's where things start to shift. Because once he locked in the design language, he looked at the engine. And that's where it gets uncomfortable. Because Honda, a company not exactly known for flexibility, was told to start over. When ADRIAN Newey told Honda to rebuild their engine, they didn't argue. They did it. They repackaged the entire RA626H power unit, repositioned the cooling, redesigned the energy recovery layout, all to serve one objective: give Newey the smallest, tightest rear end in the sport. A layout that no other team, not even Red Bull, could replicate. But that's not the real twist. Because this isn't just about making a fast car. This is about building something that no one else can reverse engineer. A system so tightly integrated, it only works in one place. Inside Aston Martin. That level of control is rare. And dangerous. Because now, there's no one above him. Lawrence Stroll didn't hire Newey to contribute. He handed him the keys. Newey isn't just the technical director anymore. He's team principal. which means the most brilliant, and arguably most uncompromising, mind in Formula One, now runs the whole structure. And that makes the FIA nervous. Because historically, Newey works best when no one tells him no. But in a sport governed by limits, financial, technical, operational, giving that level of authority to one person? That's not just unusual. It's a risk. Especially when you combine it with what's happening behind closed doors. Because in late 2025, something leaked. And it wasn't from the media. It was internal. Wind tunnel data. Numbers. The kind of numbers that aren't supposed to get out. And they showed something troubling. Sources close to the team say the figures were unbelievable. As in, significantly ahead of what they were expecting at that stage of development. And when those numbers were compared to benchmark data, even from teams like McLaren and Ferrari, the AMR26 was not only in the fight. It was ahead, but only in simulations. Which raises the question, if the data's real, how long can they keep this a secret? Here's the part no one's really talking about. It's not just about speed, or horsepower, or even aero numbers on a wind tunnel report. It's about how the car is being developed. And why that process, more than the design itself, could be the real breakthrough. Because what Aston Martin is doing is different. They're not just building one car. They're building two timelines. Internally, the AMR26 project has been split down the middle. On one side, a team focused entirely on mechanical integration, suspension geometry, packaging, cooling, engine harmonics. On the other, a parallel team chasing aero gains, floor development, wake management, turbulence control. And here's the key. Both streams are being designed to converge later. Not in Australia. Not in the first few races. But mid-season. That's when the real car arrives. The launch spec? That's just the prototype. It's the starting point. And that's not speculation, that's by design. Because Newey understands something that most teams forget when the pressure hits. Championships aren't won in round one. They're won in July. In Budapest. In Silverstone. When the first wave of upgrades exposes which concepts can grow. And which are trapped in their own architecture. This is where Aston Martin might have the biggest advantage. Because they're not racing to win early. They're racing to evolve faster than anyone else. And when you combine that with the raw hunger inside the factory, the silence isn't just strategic. It's deliberate. Because the more they hide, the more the rest of the grid has to guess. And guessing wrong, under these regulations, could cost an entire season. Fernando Alonso is about to turn 45. And yet, he might still be the sharpest weapon in the entire grid. Not just because of his racecraft. Not just because of the way he manages tires. But because he understands how fragile winning really is. He's been here before. He's seen what happens when teams collapse under their own potential. He watched McLaren waste speed. He lived through Ferrari's indecision. And now, he's the one holding Aston Martin together. This is what makes 2026 so critical. Because for Alonso, it's not just another season. It might be the last one that matters. His contract ends in December. There's no guarantee he stays. And privately, he's already hinted, if the car can't win, he's gone. That puts the entire factory on a timer. There's number 2027 rebuild. No, let's see how things look next year. It's now. Or never. And that urgency? It's visible inside the garage. Every simulator run. Every feedback session. They all have weight. Because if Aston delivers, if they finally give Alonso the machinery he's waited over a decade for, the grid won't just be dealing with a fast car. They'll be dealing with the most experienced, most complete driver of the modern era. With nothing left to lose. But if they don't deliver, they lose everything. Momentum. Credibility. And the one driver who could have translated raw potential into real results. This isn't just about building a fast car anymore. It's about holding on to the only person who can truly weaponize it. But even if the AMR26 is everything it's supposed to be, that's not the end of the story. Because execution is something else entirely. We've seen it before. Fast cars that never deliver. Teams that crumble when it matters most. And organizations that get blinded by early data, only to be exposed on track. Aston Martin has never fought for a title in the modern era. Not in the hybrid era. Not under pressure. Not across 24 races, 6 sprint weekends, and a grid stacked with teams who've already survived that fire. And now? There's nowhere to hide. Every decision they make, from Bahrain to Suzuka, will be under scrutiny. Every pit stop, every update, every late race call. Because for the first time, they're not underdogs. They're a target. And the pressure that comes with that? It doesn't care how much money you spent. Or who designed your car. It only cares about results. But there's one more thing. Because behind the scenes, something else is quietly being discussed. Not just the 2026 title. Not just Alonso's last stand. But what happens after? What if Newey's already working on the 2027 concept? What if the AMR26 is just the first move in a larger plan? Because when you give a mind like his complete control, you don't just build a fast car. You build a dynasty. And if that's where this is heading, then what we've seen so far is only the beginning.